Good afternoon, Your Honor. Marlene is shown for the plaintiff, standing in for the attorney of record. My P number is 69505.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Robert Constant on behalf of the defendant, Randy Gorkowski. If you would unmute yourself, Mr. Gorkowski.
I think where is he at? Mr. Gerwit, is it Gerwitowski, I thought, right? Gerwitowski?
Gerwitowski.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
Okay, what are we doing today?
Your Honor, this is our first time we've talked with this defendant. This defendant is holding over in his house. His house was in foreclosure, and a realtor bought the house, and there's some terms of the agreement that we just want to get clear on. And the defendant, Mr. Gerwitowski, we're going to give him some assistance in getting everything finalized and hopefully getting moved. He's been in the house for 24 years. He gets Social Security disability.
So how long are we talking as far as adjournment goes?
2 weeks, Your Honor.
Is that what you anticipated, Ms. Schoen?
Your Honor, I'm not aware of any agreement. Typically, there are no agreements with people who are in foreclosure, but I don't have the authority to agree to anything. But if the court is going to adjourn for 2 weeks, then I will certainly accept that.
I understand the challenge, so I'm hopeful that this 2 weeks will be productive because at least I haven't been presented with any real issue of fact here. So if we come back here in 2 weeks and there hasn't been some efforts, then the court is likely going to move forward that day. Just want to give everybody a heads up. The court is going to want to move forward on this. So, all right. In the meantime, let me just.
Does that mean I only have 2 weeks to find a place to live and move?
Sir, hold on.
Mr. Gerwitowski, so it means you've got 2 weeks to make a plan. And then you'll work with Mr. Constant. You can talk to legal aid and talk about your different options. But even if, for example, at that 2 week date, the court decides that you have no legal standing or legal right to remain there, it would still be a 10-day requirement on it, as far as 10 days before they could get a writ from me. So, if you're looking at how long we're talking about, it could be as short as 24 days. So I would start moving on this soon, Mr. Gerwitowski, to try to make sure that you've got the best possible sort of next steps in place.
Yes.
Okay, well, the biggest problem I've had is my realtor who promised to find me a house before my redemption period was up has failed to do so. And now he's suggesting that I find an apartment to move into, and that's just not viable for me. I have too much stuff. I have a house full of photo equipment. I had a photo studio for 15 years and I had to close it because I had a brain tumor. So I'm storing all my photo gear here. Plus I've got 2 vehicles and a ton of car parts and tools. So I need a big enough space to move into, ideally my own house with at least a 2-car garage.
Right, Mr. Gerwitowski, that's that.
We don't want to get into the facts right now. That's what we're going to get into with the landlord's attorney and what promises, if any, there were. But if either we agree to the adjournment or the case proceeds, and I would strongly suggest we take the advantage of the 2 week adjournment.
Okay, let me just add though, I've been told by some legal counseling, that I could request anywhere from 90 to down to 30 days an extension to stay here, to deciding on, depending on how you feel. Is that still a possibility? I could get that?
Yeah, Mr. Gerwitowski, I don't know of any legal authority that would usually these cases, time is of the essence, and the court is, in fact, if I had to set this matter for jury trial, I'd have to set it within 56 days. So I don't know where the 30 and the 90 come from that you're getting. So I don't know what kind of information you're getting that might be connected to the redemptive period and all the options that probably have
No,
already
this was-
passed.
this
Mr.
was beyond
Gurkowski,
the
we
redemption
discussed
period.
that briefly and I'll discuss it more with you, but it's if somebody else now owns the property and they filed this landlord tenant eviction, there's nothing about 90 days. That may be for some other fact situation, but again, let's
Either way, so basically, Mr. Gurwatowski, what this 2 weeks does is it does buy you time to look at all of your legal options. But just know this, when we come back here in 2 weeks, I mean, we're gonna have to have some idea of what we're doing. But I'm gonna give you those 2 weeks, Mr. Gurwatowski. I am not required to give you these 2 weeks. This is frankly a courtesy. In fact, plaintiff can't even agree to it. The court is in essence giving you these 2 weeks over and above their requests. So just use this time, Mr. Gurwatowski. Obviously, you've seen this day; it could potentially be coming. So it's time to, you know,
Okay,
really
but-
rally your resources. So
Mr.
I just wanna
Gurkowski,
go
we'll
back to the-
talk as soon as we're done.
but yeah, just Mr. Gurwatowski, I understand there's a million questions you got, but right now, I can't give
No,
you any
but it-
legal, I can't give you any legal advice. The best I can give you is time. So
Okay, but I'm just getting to the point that before I sold them my house, they had promised me that they would find me another one that I could buy and move into before the date was up, and he obviously hasn't done that yet.
yeah, Mr. Gurwatowski, so what you're doing right now is offering arguments related to the case as if we were at a trial. We're not at a trial right now, okay?
Okay,
If there's a time where there's the need for taking a testimony, then we can get into sort of the back and forth and any conversations that were had or not had, or any promises that were made or not made. But that's
Okay.
not for this
Would-
moment right now. It's
would
just
that would I have the opportunity to present that at the
the
pretrial?
next here, at
Yes.
the next time, it would be another pre-trial like we're doing right now. And then we
Okay.
would decide as to whether or not there would be the need for a hearing. Now, this court would have to see, before I would ever set it for a hearing, would have to see whether or not there's an actual, real legitimate dispute that the court could even hear. If it's a situation where, you know, again, I can't relitigate what's already perhaps been decided in circuit court or what's been already been handled by a forfeiture or a mortgage sale. Like, that's out of my hands. So all I can decide
Okay.
right now is who is the owner of the property and are they entitled to possession?
So get
that's-
that information to me, not to interrupt you, Your Honor. You get that information to me, I present it in a legal argument. It has, but now is just putting on the record a 2-week adjournment to allow us time to get information from you, not to present to the judge. We understand how upset you are and how difficult it'll be to move, but I get that information to me. I will be your lawyer. I will present that and explain to you about the law, what you have, 90 days, so forth and so on.
Okay.
All right, I'll
Well,
adjourn this.
let me ask you this one little question though. My realtor that I've been dealing with in the sale of my house, would he be required to take the stand and tell
So
his
in
side of
2
the story?
weeks, in 2 weeks, we will not be having a trial. In 2 weeks, we're going to see what the status is. If
I
there is
see.
ever the need for a trial, you can call whatever witnesses you want.
I
So,
see.
but today we just had to move this to give you time to accumulate the information and get it to Mr. Constant. When we come back in 2 weeks, we decide, is there a triable issue here? And if so,
Okay.
we can always try it, but the court may determine that there's not. And if that's the case, then you'd have to be out in 10 days. So but again, that's what we're gonna use these next 2 weeks for. You're all set today, Mr. Gurwatowski. We got to move on to some other files and we'll see you back here in 2 weeks.
I'll call
Okay,
you,
thank
Mr.
you.
Gurkowski.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. very
Philomar
much,
Apartments,
Your Honor.
Smallwood, 2401-625.
Sign off, Mr. Gurkowski.
All right. Thank you.